we're not done yet, okay? Now we've got to decide which system that we want to look at. Julie, do you have the next slide?
I do.
Mr. Chairman, these are the two options. One is the gravity sewer, the more traditional public sewer system. The low pressure option is less expensive because less capital cost is involved. It is dug much lower. Less deep. Less deep, thank you. And the two options are the first phase accessible portion, $27,000 on the gravity sewer, $14,000 on the low pressure, and the non-accessible portion, that would be the actual connection to the home, and the grinder pump inclusion on option for the low pressure option. That's why that is $5,000 more roughly, or $4,500, is because of the grinder pump. One option being $37,000 approximately. The other option, a low pressure option, is some $9,000 cheaper or some $8,500 cheaper approximately for the low pressure option.
Right. Understanding this, and from what Joe had told us before, the gravity sewer option is going to dig up the roads quite extensively because we've got to go down 18 feet or more in certain areas there to pull it down. Whereas my understanding is the low pressure option only goes down 3 or 4 feet and it's a very thin line. Is that correct?
Correct, and also has a grinder pump on
right at the house.
rear yard of each home.
At the house, okay. And we're currently using the low pressure option on the homes back on Hawks Nest Lane in that area?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay. Are we using the gravity sewer option anywhere?
Everywhere.
Everywhere else?
Everywhere.
Okay.
The old-fashioned sewers. Okay.
It's grinder pump.
Okay.
That has the-
Let me bring up a point about
So-
the pressure system. That's not the total cost.
I'm sorry, what?
The low pressure system, that's not the total cost because you have to have that pump maintained.
Yes.
Well, that's the question.
That's a continuing expense.
Well, that's what we have to talk about. We discussed that before, sir, that with a grinder pump, it goes every 8-10 years. You need maintenance on that. So with the $37,000, you do that, it's done. No maintenance, no work.
That's right.
Ship flows downhill, you're done. With
Actually,
the other
there-
one,
yeah.
there's maintenance every few years, whatever requires servicing it, cleaning the pit out, and things like that.
If the thing doesn't fail.
And you can, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have a,
Penny, 2912 Hickory Hill Road. I own a couple properties, landlord with grinder pumps. I've had zero maintenance on them. They've really come a long way, and
That's
Like
what our engineers-
any other pump, it'll fail eventually.
but they're,
But,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, the newer ones are
Yeah.
different than the ones 10 years ago.
Right.
That's what our engineer has been telling us too, because we had concerns when he originally proposed that. It's good to know that that's your experience as well.
So the ones I have that were 10 years old were replaced. The ones that had 5 that had nothing.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments on either one? Any preferences? Yes, sir.
I know everyone wants to, if they lay out the money, they want to go ahead and buy the Mercedes or whatever analogy you want to use. However, think about the existence and the life of how long you're going to be at that property. You know, are you going to be there over 10 years? Are you going to be there, you know? To me, for everyone who voted no in the survey, you know, the best option is the lower pressure option, because it at least defers half of the payment. You know, my situation may be, and many others may be, I'm looking to get out of the neighborhood within 5 years. But I'm gonna, you know, have to fork out that whole amount.
No, you're not. See, that's the whole, that was my point earlier.
We haven't gotten to who's paying for what yet.
It's not been decided.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Right.
Earlier tonight,
Yes.
Susan, Ms. Coughlin,
Call.
Right.
went on record, or stated at least, that what we're looking at in precedent set is that whoever owns the property needs to pay for the upgrades. All right, we know that.
The ratepayers.
Ratepayers.
Correct, right.
So let's just assume for this matter that that's what's going to happen, and I'm going to be expected to pay one of these two totals, and my vote would be the low pressure option, because then I assume that if my system just tested fine 2 years ago. We got others that just passed or installed new ones. So if we can do the half now And whenever we need to go on, pay the second half of the 14,000, it makes the most sense to me. When you're gonna be twisting people's arms, potentially, we'll talk about it later, to go ahead and lay out money. So, I mean, for everyone else here that's supporting it, let me put it in perspective from the other point of view. I understand many people are having issues, right? They're locked into land and they don't have any place else to go, all right? Now, other people's perspective is that I do have options. But what the survey's doing, what the board might do, what other things might happen is now you guys, whoever wants to support this, may be taking my options away and requesting a higher end system to pay, to come out of the equity of my home, when I don't necessarily choose to do it. So, you know, I know everyone wants Mercedes and everything else, but look at it from the other perspective. We want to talk about what government's supposed to do and what the role is and what the individual's rights are. That right could be taken away tonight by everyone voting to go ahead and go with the Mercedes and go quick. And now all of a sudden, I have no choice but to outlay something, potentially, whoever ends up paying for it.
Yeah, but your system, you might be willing to.
But that's my choice.
Yes, but if you're going to sell in 5 years.
Okay,
it's 4
please,
years.
please,
If
please.
your system fails,
But that's my choice.
then you
Yeah.
still have to pay.
Yeah.
It doesn't
If-
matter. I should have a right to choose.
Yeah,
I want you to address the chair. I don't want to have all the back and forth. In the back.
I sell 8 to 10 houses a year, sometimes 20 if I'm doing new construction.
Your name again, sir?
Jeff Penny, Hickory Hill Road.
Thank you.
Younger people do not want anything to do with on-site. So if you are considering selling, I think you're going to get an added value to your home, even if you have an on-site, by having access to public service. I've just seen it every day of my life. I will not touch a property that has on-site. It's
Okay.
just too risky.
What about oil?
We're getting,
Well,
yeah. Yeah, that's something else, but we're getting a little late. I want to make the decision tonight on what type of system we're going to go. Then I want the township manager to look at the costs and everything else and come back with some recommendations. Okay, as far as who hooks up, who has to hook up, everything else. But tonight I want to decide which one of these two so that we can move forward with the township engineer and the design phase. Yes,
Real quick, Kenneth Winko, 1745 Greenbrier Drive.
right.
If it's on my dime, I want the cheapest. I want on someone else's dime, I'll take the Cadillac. I'll be
Right.
totally honest.
I understand.
It's
It's
pretty
always
simple.
easy to spend somebody else's
Well,
money. Yes.
It's a big part of the equation, sir.
Yeah.
It really
we
is.
understand.
Well,
It's needed.
I have no problem with sewer. I really don't. It's just, I don't plan on connecting. I'm one of those people.
All right.
What you do is what's your business there, but
But,
I'd rather pay 14,000 as opposed to 27.
Right.
yeah, but sir, once again, this money's going to come from somewhere in the township. And there's 80 residents up there, but we have thousands of other people.
I understand.
That have these septic systems, so there's no free ride in Worcester. So I understand that.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind paying $100 for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
so everyone else wouldn't have to
Before I
pay
call for a motion,
$27,000.
is there anyone else that has anything different? You have anything different, Steve?
I'm just going to say my vote goes for the larger option.
Okay.
For the gravity sewer option, for many reasons, which you don't have the time for me to lay
Okay.
out.
All right. Next to you,
Ann Rock,
Ann.
what would have been the prices in 2006? I know, Steve.
I know what they are.
I know, come
Right
on.
there.
I was waiting for that.
They're that book.
2006, what should have been done? 2006, what would have the prices have been?
Well, the question, that's a good question. I can't really answer that. I will say that prices that the township has been paying for a lot of things over the past 4 years has been one heck of a lot better than what we had 6 years ago because the economy is so bad now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know, and that's the answer is, I mean, what we have to decide here. Chuck, last one.
One other thing about that, with the public service, is your property value goes up.
That's what they say.
And have these been bid on, these prices, or?
These are estimates. These are estimates based on
That really needs
CKS.
to be emphasized, Mr.
Yes,
Bustard. These
yes.
are estimates.
So what we are basically looking at is we're deciding tonight, okay, which type of system do we want the township engineer to design?
Well, the big
Cadillac.
obstacle is how you're going to finance it. How are people going to pay for it? Now, you didn't mention, it's in the 537, You didn't mention municipal bonds, you didn't mention grants, you didn't mention PA money, you didn't mention federal money, you didn't mention anything like that. And I think that when this was initially proposed, you scared the bejesus out of people. They said, what? I gotta pay what? And they said, no, I don't want it. But you have to come up and tell us how it's
That's why you
going.
guys are asking where you are.
Okay.
That's
If
the
it's
way
someone's
you
paid for,
choose.
gravity's great.
Mr. Watson, months ago, when this discussion was ongoing, and our manager was asked to go out and look for grant money. He did go out and look for grant money. His report was, currently, every source he looked at, old sources, new sources, there is no grant money available to Worcester Township for sanitary sewers. So he looked everywhere. He asked other townships, he asked granting agencies, he asked the state, he asked DCD, and there is no funding. So we know that there is no public or private funding for this.
It's not even
So-
an H2O.
Correct.
As of today. I mean, it could
Correct.
change, but not likely.
Our manager is keeping abreast of this because we all know that this would be better paid for with grant money if we can do that. We've also looked at bonds. A couple of months ago, Mr. Mangan was asked to go out and look at the feasibility of a municipal bond. The answer was for a relatively small amount, a couple $1 million, the expense was large. That would be the expense to you all, the ratepayers. The expense was too large. So the funding has not been decided on yet. One option is just for the ratepayers to cut a check, and the township pays the contractor and the job is done. That seems a little excessive to me. I could not come up with $27,000, or I wouldn't want to even come up with $14,000 if I had to right away. So we'd like to look into financing that. We have not looked into the details. And the decision's not been made. The other board members may feel differently. But I can tell you for a certainty that for months now, the manager has been looking at funding options outside the township. He keeps reporting to us that they're not there. I know he will continue to look, and if his report changes, we'll all be thrilled and we'll have some money to put on the table. It has been explored and is being explored, I can assure
Okay.
you.
Now, before we go too much longer, I want to...
Mr. Chairman, I'll help you out.
Go ahead.
You can, somebody be the deciding vote in case you move this thing forward. I would vote to go with a gravity flow system, so I make a recommendation the township
I vote gravity.
go into the gravity flow system.
I personally would go the other way. I'd go the low pressure.
I have concerns about that amount of money from the ratepayers. Whether you write a check or pay for it over the life of the bond, it's almost twice. I have serious concerns about asking ratepayers to fork out that much money.
So we've got one for the gravity fed, one for the low pressure. You're the deciding vote. What you want to do?
Oh, my gosh. Thanks.
That's why you get the big bucks.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
I can't see spending $37,000 when I can get the exact same thing.
Yeah, but you're not getting the exact same thing. Once again, I make my,
I understand.
I deal in manure and byproduct,
Right.
and I know the waste and the problems associated
Right.
with rust and
Right.
pumps and grinders.
Sure.
And I think you pay it once, and it's done.
Mhm.
And,
But-
you know, so once again, it comes to payment.
That's-
But it depends if you do over a 10-year or 12-year. And I think, Mr. Chairman, that we're making a big decision here. Maybe we're putting the cart before the horse. Maybe we should let the township manager come up with some financing options. We're going to do something. We're going to do some sewer. Well, they can't do any sewer until we fix the plant. So that's 2 years down the road. So why are we making a decision tonight? Can't the, well, what's that?
You didn't think they threw the shit in our bag.
Well, 15 months. I mean,
They can overlap.
It'd be cheaper to go buy yourself a pump truck. I'm serious.
well, for whatever the time is that
We can't hook it up.
you can't hook it up. So nothing really changed in the next month if Lee took it out. So we all can be assured that maybe with the financing plan, it's a little bit different. And if he had some rates as how we can go about it, maybe we should. I think we voted on something to do the sewer to help the people out tonight. But maybe even my decision would change based on the financing of it if the township manager come up with creative ways so the residents will know what it's going to cost them. Lee, what's the time frame it would come? You would have some numbers for us.
Month or two, at most.
I mean, that way we
But
know.
that will delay it a month or two, though, because Joe cannot sit down and design until he knows which one it is, right?
Yeah, but I don't think, after 7 years, Mr. Chairman, I don't think a month or two is really going to make a difference.
Well,
We told the folks it's going to happen. The sewer's coming in.
Yeah. Gentleman in the back. Jeff, I'm sorry.
I've done both systems. It's especially for going deep, no one's gonna dig a gravity system and give you a firm bed. They're gonna have a rock and root claw.
Yep.
There's a rock
You're gonna have
Yeah.
the dynamite over there.
Have a bore.
Yeah.
The problem is, they can go, and they line in one bed and include the rock, and they make it, it's all included in the bed, and they do it all the time, and I've done them all the
Okay.
time. And it's included, but every one of these residents up there, these old houses, with swimming pools and everything else, you're gonna be dealing with cracks in the walls, and a lot of obligations that are gonna drive those numbers higher.
Yeah, you've got dynamite up there because there's a whole bunch of stone up in there in
I'm
that
very
area.
concerned with going 18 feet deep in some areas if we don't have to. That's gonna ruin your streets. These are your streets, you drive on them more than anybody else, and they're gonna be torn up.
They're going to be turned either way, aren't they? 4 feet or,
Yeah, but it's a lot easier just to ditch witch 4 feet than it is to, bucket.
yeah,
Bucket-
Rob's back there shaking his
bucket
head.
dig 18 feet.
Now, the lower pressure systems are very shallow, and you can put them on one side of the road and a whole lot across, because the rocks can be down 4 or 5 feet.
Rob, you do this for a living. I mean, I'll consider you a professional. You've done this a number of times. Where's your view on this?
The low pressure systems anymore, and even the people with the sand mountains now already have the pumps.
Right.
That they could just pump it the other direction into the system.
Now, it's a grinder pump, so it's
They do
different, but-
very well. You can get the replacement grinder pumps at Home Depot now.
Mhm.
And you make tandem pump stations, so if one of your pumps goes, a little warm red light goes off in your basement, you replace it, you go to Home Depot, get another one and replace it.
Get a garbage disposal and hook it right in, I understand.
It's not that hard.
So-
But the blasting in the roads, if you put the sewer lines in the streets, every one of those streets, you'll end up replacing them in the end, the contractors.
Yeah. We had Joe discuss this when he made his presentation, and he did not see any difference in the low pressure or the gravity fed. They're both equally good. They both do the equal systems.
And we do have low pressure in Fawn Creek
We
already.
already have it.
It's not like we have not done it.
We have
have
it.
done it. I'm sorry?
Applewood's.
And Applewood, correct. And
Right.
Applewood just came in and they're low pressure. So we're doing it. Residents are dealing with the grinder pump, and apparently it's not an issue for selling the house. I don't know if you want to vote tonight.
I want to vote tonight.
Or,
Yeah, one last one. Go ahead.
this isn't gonna affect me at all for a long time, but the difference between 28,000 and 37,000, that's $9,000. That's not a lot of money. Why can't
It's
the township,
It's 27 to 14. It's almost twice.
I'm looking at the bottom.
beginning.
Well, this is it's a different breakdown. It's a
All
little
right,
bit
well,
different, Ron.
irregardless, my point is, why can't the township pick up the bill and pay the thing, because it should have been done, first of all, 10 years ago. I don't care if you want to raise my taxes a little bit to help the guy that really can't afford it. Let the whole township pay for it.
But Ron,
And the supervisors come up with the money and let us pay you back.
All right.
You're generous. Okay. I want to hear a motion.
okay, I'll go with, Art, if you want to do it tonight,
I do want to.
Rob's in the business,
Yeah.
I appreciate that, so
Yeah.
the blasting, I wouldn't think about the blasting in the pools and the
You're gonna
homes
hit
and the
all that.
rocks, less digging. Hate to switch my vote here, but I'll change my motion to go with the cheaper version, Mr. Bustard.
Okay.
Based
The low
on
pressure.
Low pressure.
The low pressure.
the low pressure system, based on his
Okay.
professional experience.
Second.
Second. All right, I've got it on the floor. Anyone? Call the question. All those in favor of the low-pressure system, say aye.
He's got his hand up.
Aye.
I heard you guys talking in there, and I agree. He's got a lot of experience, you guys. And-
Yeah.
And it's very wise you guys to pick up on that, and I agree with 1,000%.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, done with that now. Engineers report. I'm sorry, do we have anything real quick?
Yes, I have two quick items.
Okay. Okay,
The first one,
please, we'll move through.
the first one is the 2013 road improvement program. As I believe you're all aware, the
Right.
contract was awarded to Rate Paving in the
Right.
amount of $271,090. The pre-construction meeting for that is going to take place tomorrow, July 18th, 10 a.m. The notice to proceed will be issued by this coming Monday, the 22nd.
Okay.
It's a 45-day contract, so that it should be completed sometime in early September.
Okay.
The next is the status of the Hollow Road Bridge Replacement
Right.
Project. The design and the plans are in progress, nearing completion. We expect to make submission to the DEP for the GP permit that we need by the end of this month. We expect to release bids by about the middle of August, with a receiving bids sometime in mid-September. Construction would start in early October and should hopefully be completed by sometime in February.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. You all picked that up? Okay, Jim, do you have anything? You? Yeah, Jim. Sorry. Mr.
No, I
Garrity.
don't have
Right,
anything. I don't
okay.
have it. It's late enough.
Okay, yeah, it's getting real late. I don't have any other business. Any other business? No. Public comments. Does anybody, I mean, everybody's talked already. Please. Thank you. Seeing none. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, for
Thank you, Steve.
done.
I was going to vote against it. I really was. I was going to vote against it. I really, really don't like public sewer. Okay?
Yeah, but you know, it'd be
I
important
lost
to
my.
keep
I grew up in a free country. I don't have a free country anymore.
It's also on 60,000 square